Hi guys, so today we are doing a new video. Basically, I'm going to be analyzing episode 1 of YashaHime, and I'm really excited to show like what I found. So I'm just gonna do 2 and 3 next week together, and then 4 and 5, and so on and so forth. Here are my beautiful, beautiful notes. Oh, and I also want to say that YashaHime also was confirmed 24 episodes. If it's gonna be only 1 season, it's still unclear. Hopefully, if the series does do well, it will be continued for another season. That'd be really cool, or like a movie or something like that, because I feel like there's so much potential with this story and there's so much concepts with this story as well. I don't think 24 episodes is enough to like have everything. And by the way, this is all just like my theories, my personal theories, and like stuff that I've gathered online. You know, these are just theories. I could be wrong. I'm just letting you know, so like take this with a grain of salt. Let me know in the comments below if you agree or disagree, but just be like, you know, respectful. And if you think something totally different, just let me know in the comments below. I would love to read your personal theories and stuff like that. But this is just my research that I've gathered at like 3 in the morning and put together. Take this with a grain of salt. Okay, so episode 1, InuYasha Since Then episode. So we start off with seeing Towa, and she's introduced as a half-human, half-demon. She is Sesshomaru's daughter, mother unknown. She's being held captive at Ogigayatsu, Hiiragi, Danjo's home. His home was actually introduced already, key term number 24. If you guys don't know, key terms basically are these terms that they release now every week, leading up, I think 2 weeks leading up to the release of YashaHime. They had keywords every single day, kind of hinting what we, you know, will expect to see. And basically, Ogigayatsu Hiiragi home was already introduced as term 24. Danjo is basically a deputy shogun of Kanto, so he's basically someone of a high political power in the Kanto region of Japan. And he asked Towa if she is who they call YashaHime, or the princess half-demon. And by him saying who they call, it's kind of like, oh, is she known as like the YashaHime or the half-demon princess? Is she a famous person that was missing? Is she someone that everyone knows about? You know, more than just Danjo, who knows that she is YashaHime, right? And then Towa denies it, and then Danjo turns to Sokyu, and he is basically a alleged tea master, and Sokyu assures that he has proof that she is YashaHime. And then he pulls out a social studies or a history textbook, and he asks if what the book says inside the book of the textbook is true. And then he also asks about the Reiwa era. And basically, if you guys don't know, the Reiwa era is basically the current modern era right now. So the Reiwa era started actually in May 2019. It's an actual era in life, and that is the current modern era that Towa is from. Towa refuses to reveal anything about the Reiwa era social studies textbook because she's afraid of changing history. And this is a crazy concept, or a funny concept, because if you remember back in the InuYasha series, Kagome was very, very, very irresponsible. I personally always questioned, oh, like wouldn't she, you know, change the future if she brought all this stuff in the past? It showed many times again that the stuff that she did in the past didn't really impact the future. So I think it's like a really weird concept for them to just randomly introduce into this series, that Towa is really cautious about changing anything in the past to impact the future. So there's like this whole butterfly effect type thing. Sokyu says like, oh, I have more proof. So then he brings out an old bicycle seat, and it's actually Kagome's bicycle seat. Oh, where did this bicycle go? This bicycle has went through so much in its lifetime. And then Towa, when she sees the bicycle seat, she reacts, and it kind of like gives away that she does know something, you know? Sokyu starts to bring up like rumors and stuff like that. Oh, there's rumors of a priestess that came through the Bone Eater's Well from a land called Tokyo, and she traveled around the lands with a half-demon named InuYasha, slaying demons. And then Towa reacts again, but then it's just like, what kind of reaction was it? You know, it's like she either knows about Kagome from Sota or whatever, or like whoever from the modern era, and she's surprised that Sokyu knows about Kagome, or this is the first time she's ever heard about Kagome, about this priestess that traveled with a half-demon, you know? I'm just leaning more towards to the fact that she knows about Kagome. I just think based off of reaction, she knows about it. No explanation, I just have a gut feeling that she already knows about it. And then Sokyu tells Kagome Kagome's story, an incident that happened over a decade ago. And it cuts to InuGang's life 6 months after the final act ended, basically. It's just basically the InuYasha Since Then manga chapter. If you guys don't know, it is an extra manga chapter that Rumiko released because of a typhoon. They were just trying to raise money for release and stuff like that. So her and a bunch of other manga artists collaborated and just kind of like made an extra chapter to sell just to raise money. But there are a few like new stuff that they just added for the anime, so I will go through that. So we first are introduced to Sango and Kagome, and then we are introduced to Sango's kids. We have finally names, Kinu and Gyokuto and Hisui. Kagome goes to the kids and then she shows them a Kikyo root, and then she says it's a plant that helps with coughs and fevers. They move on along, they're walking. Kagome mentions a poem called The Seven Flowers of Autumn from the Manyoshu. Manyoshu is basically the oldest collection of Japanese poems. Axel, my friend, another InuYasha or anime YouTuber, did a little analysis on this poem. So I definitely recommend to watch his video. I'll leave it in the description below, but it's like really informative. And just like to sum it up, I guess, he said the poem is just mentioned probably just to represent the end of InuYasha and the beginning of YashaHime. And then as they're walking, Hisui suddenly cries as they pass by a four-eyed owl demon called Yotsume, and Yotsume was introduced in the show with like a little character description as well, so obviously he is someone more significant in the show. And then as it flies away, the owl flies away, Hisui suddenly stops crying, so that kind of just foreshadows that, oh, this owl, bad news. But again, check out another one of Axel's video. He did a little analysis on the Yotsume demon, a possible theory that he might be connected with Naraku. Naraku is alive! Just check out his video, it's super interesting. Kagome mentions that the kids have unique names, and then Sango says that Miroku was the one who chose them. And I thought it would be fun if, you know, find the meaning behind their names. So Hisui is basically means jade, and basically jade is a stone for purity or purification, and because jade is regarded as a stone that protects and supports loving heart energy, jade also symbolizes gentleness and nourishment. With names in Japanese, there is Japanese kanji, so there is he and then sui, and then he alone means kingfisher, and basically kingfisher is a bird. It has a symbol of peace, promising prosperity and love. And then the last character, sui, means green, and green has a significance of growth, harmony, freshness, fertility, emotional correspondence with safety as well. So yeah, Hisui is just someone who is kind, protective. I think that gives us a hint on his character. And then we have Kinu. Kinu is one of the twins. Kinu means silk, and silk is a type of like fabric or clothing worn by Japanese people, and it's a very, you know, valuable type of material, and it's usually worn by people of high position. She rich! She rich, or maybe she's like a princess, you know, like someone social. But I feel like her and Gyokuto like share like the same brain cell. I feel like they're one and the same, like together, you know, like the best friends, you know. And then we have Gyokuto, which is the second twin, and basically her name is the legendary Jade Rabbit, and more specifically the Moon Rabbit, and it is also a yokai. According to yokai.com, Jade Rabbit, or the Moon Rabbit, the demon that lives on the moon, the way the rabbit looks like, it just holds a mallet that is used to make mochi. It is said that the mallet is what was used to create the dark spots on the moon, which is really cute. I read like a little story on yokai.com, definitely check it out, like the full story, but I kind of summarized it a little bit. Story of Gyokuto. Traveling fox, monkey, and rabbit came across an unkept old man who collapsed from exhaustion while traveling. The animals felt bad for the old man and they decided to help him. The monkey gathered nuts, the fox gathered fish, but the rabbit wasn't able to do anything useful. So the animals together built a fire, and the rabbit sacrificed itself in the fire so he can be eaten by the old man. And then the old man acknowledged the act made by the rabbit, and he revealed that he was actually a lord from heaven. The lord placed the rabbit on the moon so everyone can be inspired by the rabbit's compassion. So I think that Gyokuto might be a compassionate type character. So back to the story. Kagome asks Sango where is InuYasha and Miroku, and Sango says that they are handling a demon that was was sealed, but it was unsealed because of a landslide. And then we cut to InuYasha and Miroku. They're basically investigating the whole incident with the unsealed demon, and they find out about root head. InuYasha tries slaying it, but then it got away, and then they discover an old arrow from the tomb site. Dun dun dun. And basically root head, it was another key term, so we had information about root head a few weeks ago. But basically root head is a demon with roots that eats people and beasts. It can also absorb the opponent's ability by entwining them. Very important thing to remember, and I don't think InuYasha and Miroku knew about that fine detail that was revealed in the key terms. And then we are introduced to Kohaku, Kirara, Sesshomaru, and Jokin. So all four of them encounter each other and they find human remains after root head's recent attack. And then Sesshomaru explains to Kohaku that is Nanokubi's doing, or root head's doing, and he explains that it is annoying, worthless piece of vermin. But in the manga, he says, instead of annoying, he says that Nanokubi is persistent. So I thought when I was reading the manga, oh, maybe Sesshomaru encountered Nanokubi before in the past. We're introduced Kaede. With Kaede's help, they find out that root head was a demon that Kikyo sealed a long time ago before she even met InuYasha, so like over 50 years ago. Miroku asks why. This was not in the manga, but I guess this is very important. So Miroku asks Kaede why not a sacred arrow? Why did she seal the demon instead of killing it, right? And Kaede's like, I don't know. She suspects that Kikyo was tired of killing demons, so she just like sealed it instead. And then Kaede was saying that Kikyo sealed this demon during the same time frame or time period that she was taking care of Onigumo/Naraku. And Kaede reveals that root head was also after the jewel as well. And then we cut to Sango's house. We're introduced to Shippo, and we also are introduced to Rin. And then Sango kind of just brings up wondering why the guys just went straight to Kaede's house. Shippo says that they're probably discussing something that they don't want to be overheard by anyone else. And they're kind of like, what do they have to know that we don't have to know, you know? And even Rin, who lives with Kaede, was shooed out of the house to stay at Sango's house. So she was just kind of there. And then suddenly, root head attacks Sango's house. He calls Kagome Kikyo, and then root head is asking for the jewel. And then Sango saves Kagome from being attacked. And then the guys arrived, but root head escaped. And then the guys finally decide to tell Sango and Kagome the truth about root head and its connection with Kikyo. And they discover or realize that Nanokubi might not even know that the jewel is gone, might not even know that Kikyo is dead, because it was sealed for like 50 years. Same with InuYasha, who woke up as if literally a second ago he was sealed to the tree. Miroku explains what Nanokubi is. It is a demon that sucks the life out of people for its nourishment. It lives underground or whatever, using its roots and stuff like that. Not mentioning that it can also steal power from people it entwines. And then they also realize that the villagers around are in danger as well. So then they all decide to go after Nanokubi. And this wasn't in the manga, but Miroku was like, we must destroy it from all 6 villages surrounding the sacred tree. So that's how far basically Nanokubi's roots has spread. They leave and they look for the demon. So they locate parts of the demon, but like it's not the source. So they're basically just like fighting roots, but like not the actual source of Nanokubi, right? This part was partially in the manga, so it's just a longer interaction of Kohaku and Miroku. So Miroku is struggling fighting the roots of Nanokubi, but then Kohaku appears and he even calls Miroku brother, which is really cute. And then Kohaku is asking for Sango, where she is. Miroku's like, oh, she's at the house. And then he says that he can't be there to protect them, so he sends Kohaku to protect them. And then Kohaku leaves and Miroku is just like reminiscing over like his wind tunnel and stuff like that. And he's like, oh, I'm so powerless without my wind tunnel. That's what I always thought, right? Like after the series ended, I was like, what does Miroku have? Like, I mean, yeah, he's strong. He's very smart. He's strong, like physically stronger than the average human. Spiritual powers, la 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 la. But I was like, the wind tunnel was just such an OP thing to have. It's kind of like, now it's just like, it's so weird that he doesn't have it. And it just kind of breaks my heart in a way. Even though it was a threat to his life, to his family bloodline, whatever. Hisui could have had the wind tunnel, but you know, he's thriving. Thriving! We feel like Miroku will have upgrades, found some kind of power, you know, to upgrade his staff or something, or like his spiritual power throughout the show if they're able to be found again. So And then we cut to Kohaku meeting Sango at her house. He sees that they're safe, and Sango's like, I don't know why the roots haven't reached our house. I don't know why we're so safe, but we're fine. And then they go outside and they see Sesshomaru keeping watch over the hut because Rin is there, which is really cute. And yeah. And then Sango is like, okay, we're all safe. Hey Kohaku, look over my kids. And then she leaves to fight. This wasn't in the manga, but Kagome asked InuYasha if there was a battle at the location that they were at right now. And InuYasha says that there was one from neighboring provinces, which is why Nenokubi is so strong, because there was a lot of dead bodies in that area for it to eat, you know? And then back to the manga, Kagome figures that they have to find the source of Nenokubi, and she asks InuYasha to let her down from his back, but he refuses. Basically wants to do that because she wants to act as a decoy to lure the original source of Nenokubi out of the ground. But yeah, InuYasha refuses. And then this wasn't in the manga either, and then she said, I bet you would say yes if I were Kikyo. And you know, at first I was like, Kagome, I feel like you're kind of being petty or whatever. In a way, she was being a little petty, but I get it because InuYasha hit the whole Kikyo and Nenokubi thing, so it's kind of like, hey, I'm just getting back at you, blah 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 blah. But I read a comment saying that Kagome probably said that because she was mainly referring to how InuYasha can trust Kikyo, that she can handle herself, but he doesn't believe that Kagome could do it. It's not like a whole, hey, you like Kikyo better than me, so you would let Kikyo down and not me. It's more like Kikyo can really handle herself and you believe that, but you don't believe in me. That's what Kagome is trying to say there. It could be taken in the wrong way, and I think that was the true way, so thank you to whoever commented that. But then when Kagome said that, he kind of made a face of defeat, kind of, you know, implying that what she said was true, which is kind of sad. But then Kaede shot Kikyo's arrow suddenly to the ground, and it basically lured Roothead to move, you know? And then Kagome was able to spot where Roothead was, and then she jumps off of InuYasha impulsively, and it basically did lure Roothead out of the ground. It basically almost ate her, but then InuYasha came and saved her. They combined Windscar and the Sacred Arrow to destroy Roothead. This wasn't in the manga, but InuYasha finished it off with Meido Zangetsu-ha, which I think was a really cool touch with it. And then Kagome finished it off with exercising or purifying like the roots and everything. And then at the end, basically InuYasha just scolds Kagome for using herself as a decoy, and then Kagome says that it was okay because she trusted him to save her. And then InuYasha's just like, hey, like, I think you're actually mad at me. Like, are you mad at me for like hiding this whole Roothead and Kikyo thing? I'm pretty sure you're mad. Kagome's just like, I'm not mad. It's more like, I wish you had more faith in me, you know, as much as I have faith in you. A small piece of Roothead was actually alive, and it looked like it was dropped the base of the sacred tree, and then it suddenly expands its roots onto the tree, and then we see like a long shot of the tree, and then we see the owl or Yotsume flying away. So I'm thinking that Yotsume was obviously the one who was involved with making the time tree tunnel, dropping Nenokubi or Roothead to the foot of the sacred tree. And there's also a theory that because Roothead is able to absorb ability, that it might have absorbed power from Kikyo's sacred arrow. And then we are returned to the real time. So we have Sokyu, and then he talks about the Bone Eater's Well and how it is a well that was located in the forest of the Tree of Ages. And I think it's funny because in the past it was actually called the Forest of InuYasha in like the first episode or whatever. And then he continues to talk about how it used to be a dumping ground for slain demons. Bones thrown into the well would disappear after some time, but the well is now sealed and no one can time travel through it or pass through it. So then I'm thinking, hey, when did the well stop working? Did it stop working when Kagome came back from the modern era to the feudal era at the end of the final acts? Or did it stop working after the Roothead fight? Why would Sokyu talk about this whole story about this incident with Nenokubi, not, you know, like InuYasha season 1 to 6 plus the final act? Why this specific story to talk about the well? But he can also just be mentioning that to explain how the time tree tunnel was created, because he was the one who created it. The well doesn't work, but you're from the Riwa village, so it's like, how did you come to the feudal Japan? Maybe I'm just overthinking, but either the well stopped working after the fight with Nenokubi, that's why he told that whole story, or he was just trying to get Towa to admit that she came through the time tree tunnel by explaining how it was created. I hope that made sense. And then the Danjo asks to tell them the truth because he just basically just wants to know the fate of his clan. And then Towa suddenly tells Danjo to run because he'll get hurt. And I think that's just to show that Danjo isn't really a bad guy here. He was just kind of, hey, I want to know the future, please tell me. And I think Towa kind of just wanted to protect him in a way. And then suddenly ToGANG, the rest of ToGANG appears. We are introduced to Moroha. She is the bounty hunter, quarter demon, and daughter of InuYasha and Kagome. Basically InuYasha 2.0, but sassier. I mean, Kagome was kind of sassy, so I get it. And then Setsuna comes as well. She is a demon slayer. She is Towa's younger twin sister, fraternal twin sister. Basically, Sesshomaru's copy and paste in my opinion. Caffeine runs in her blood. She gets a little cranky. Basically, the rest of ToGANG, Moroha and Setsuna appear, beating up everyone in their way. Moroha suddenly sniffs out Yotsume, which is the owl from the beginning, right? And she attacks Sokyu, and it reveals his true form, and he is the owl. Yotsume gets away, and then Towa tells Setsuna and Moroha to go after Yotsume because he knows things. And then Towa stays behind just to collect her stuff, her history textbook, and then Kagome's bicycle seat. So that is my analysis on the whole show, plus the opening and the ending. I really hope I made sense when I'm explaining these. And then I have some afterthoughts. So I feel like the real-time events, I feel like that's a bookend. I feel like we will be revisited later in the show, maybe towards the end of the season. And with Yotsume, I feel like he's not the main villain here, obviously, because, you know, the Demon of Dreams demon is still there. But Yotsume is definitely not the main demon here. He is too not scary looking enough to be the main demon. Hopefully we won't get a Naraku 2.0 because I personally thought Naraku was kind of like a lame demon. But yeah. Predictions. Multiple seasons. I feel like, yeah, again, multiple seasons because the storyline is just way too complex. I think Kinu and Gyokuto might not be seen again, maybe. I don't know. It is only shown as their baby forms while everyone else has grown up. Versus Rin and Shippo, they're also not in the character descriptions on the website. They're not even present there at all. And a lot of us think that they might just be reintroduced in their older forms, right? I hope I made sense throughout this video. I hope you guys found this helpful. I will try my best to analyze episode 2 soon and episode 3. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be as complex as this one because I already covered the opening and ending songs, which had a lot of information. I think that's all. Check out my reaction videos, they're really fun. Check out my other YashaHime news updates and stuff like that, just so, you know, it will help you understand the show more better, I guess you could say, because like I understand it clearly because I've been learning about the show since May. But you know, for someone who is new to the show, you probably are like hella confused because you know, you have to learn the information later on. Yeah, I mean, it's cool if you don't want spoilers, but I want to know. I hope you guys found this video helpful and I hope you guys found it interesting as well. Remember, theories are just theories, opinions are just opinions. To each their own, guys. Just be respectful with one another. Thank you for 10,000 subscribers. Crazy! And yeah, make sure to subscribe for more YashaHime and InuYasha and anime content in the future, and the weekly community tab post for discussions for the episodes so we can all just interact with each other, have a good time, share our ideas, follow my Twitter, Instagram, and yeah, that's all I gotta say for today, and I would like to see you guys next time. I'm like asleep, half asleep. But yeah, I would like to see you guys next time. Bye bye!